Hi there guys, welcome back to the channel. Time for another Palace preview. They're coming thick and fast. Season's back. I'd like to say I'm loving it, but not quite yet. We're getting there. We're getting there though. But this weekend we are of course away to Man United at Old Trafford, of course. Preview. Let's start things off just by looking at the opposition, Man United, because there's plenty I want to talk about with Palace, obviously. But we'll start off with the opposition. The system that Solskjaer seems to be playing with United right now, with Martial as the new number 9, obviously since Lukaku went to Inter Milan, he's picked up the number 9 jersey and to playing much more centrally. But obviously him and Rashford like to swap up front and to rotate. Both like to drift out wide as well onto the left-hand side in particular. It looks quite exciting. It's quite an exciting time, I think, as a United, if you're a United fan, especially with obviously the additions at the back, and I'll get on to Aaron Wan-Bissaka in a minute. But with Maguire at the back, they do look a lot more solid there, despite conceding to Wolves. It was a cracking goal, though, to be fair. The problems always was going to be going into the season, the midfield, especially when they didn't sign anyone on deadline day. That's probably the area of weakness, just in terms of depth and arguably quality as well in the starting lineup. Bar Paul Pogba, it's not the strongest midfield. I think, in the last year or so, I think Jesse Lingard's only got 4 or 5 goal contributions. So when you look at someone like Lingard, who's pretty much a starter in the team at the moment, no one's really challenging that spot he's in. But potentially Fred, who's not really in the squad much either. But apart from that, he's almost nailed on in that spot, and he's not really contributing much or nowhere near enough for a team the size and quality of Manchester United. So I think for any opposition team playing Man United, if you can overrun that midfield, which is hard because they like to play 3 in the midfield, and I know for a fact Roy likes to play a lot. He likes to change up between 3 in the midfield and 2, depending on if we're doing 4-4-2, of course, or if we're changing to 4-3-3. But if you can overrun that midfield with Man United, which obviously, as I said, very tough ask, even at the best of times, even when United are playing poorly, it's quite a tough thing to do. I think that's the best way you can get at Man United, and the best way this season, I feel, to getting some sort of foothold in the game, dictating tempo in any way, shape or form. Because against the top 6 sides, specifically the top 4, very, very hard to dictate tempo and to do anything realistically in the game. You've got to try and just sit on the back foot, sit deep, look to counter and be very, very clinical. When the chances come, you have to take them because you're not going to get many. And that's the approach we've got to look at, especially as it's away to Old Trafford. So that's kind of an overall look that I have, my thoughts on the United squad right now. Wan-Bissaka, of course, this is going to be his first game against Palace since moving in the summer. I think the fans are going to give an amazing reception. I feel like we're going to chant his name more than United fans, knowing us. The same happened with Zaha when he was at Cardiff on loan, and we played them in that year where we went up. I think just when you have an academy player that's come through your youth system and has been played at the peak of Palace, in the Palace's first team, playing at his very, very best, and then getting sold for big money to one of the top 4 teams. I think that's something quite, you're almost proud. It's almost like you're a family member when you see someone who's been that closely linked or closely a close part of the club doing so well and moving on to further his career to that sort of level. It's very rare you get a Palace player, a Palace boy going through and playing at the top level. So I think I was very happy for him that he got that sort of move, because we all know how he can play. I wanted to keep him, of course, but going to United and being the starting right back in the way he started this season, of course it's depressing, but also there's this part of me that's like, yeah, I'm happy to see him bossing it. Although it is at Man United, I'd rather it be another team, but we know he can play at that level, and it's great to see him doing it, and for more people now to realise how the talent that he is. Because some people still questioned it last season because of it was Palace, so his defensive stats look better because Palace are very normally defending a lot more than they're attacking. But it just goes to show it's not the case at all, and he can do it at the very top. So I think we'll get very good reception, Wan-Bissaka. For me, looking at the Palace side of things, I think there's going to be we need a massive turnaround from the way we played against Sheffield United. Absolutely unforgivable. The players came out and admitted, Van Arnold came out on social media afterwards and admitted that they wanted it more than us. And that's fair enough. He's come out and he's actually said that, and he's explained a little bit about what the players said after the game, and that all the players acknowledged in the change room afterwards that it just wasn't good enough from the side, and that they weren't mentally in the right state of mind to win the game. And as good as that is to hear, and to as a fan as good as it is to acknowledge that, you know, they're coming out and explaining it and apologising, it is worrying that is the reason we lost the game. Not because we were out, I guess you could say not so much outplayed, but the tactical side of the game. I think Wilder completely outdid Roy Hodgson. I think that on the pitch, the starting 11 we had a better team, of course, but I think the tactical side of the game, Wilder won it hands down, and that's the reason they won the game in the end. So it is worrying to me that mentally we weren't capable of winning the game, and that Hodgson again just lacked any sort of tactical. It seemed again he wasn't willing to change up when things were clearly really, really poor. He didn't have that sort of. He was very determined or very stubborn, and stuck out with the 4-4-2, and it was clear it wasn't working. And that has been a criticism of him for a lot of last season. Not changing things up when things go wrong. Earlier substitutions, the sub seemed a little bit late again. And you've got to be critical of those things, because these are an early tactical decision, maybe at half time when it was very poor in the first half. Changing up the formation at half time could have been the difference. You never know. But it's all in hindsight now. But I just hope we get a better response. As I said earlier, how I think the game will go, we've got to look to be sitting deep and compact. I really think that this is going to be United win hands down. Just want to put that out there. For me, all about performance. And it normally is when you're away to the top four. It's always about the performance more than the result. If you get any results like City away, for example, last season, it's obviously a massive bonus, and it's you do feel like it's points gained over everyone else in the league. But realistically, you're going there just hoping for a good performance and showing good signs that you can take into the next game, which of course is a much more winnable game when we're at home to Villa. So for me, I want to see us being much more compact and much more organised, and I do feel that we will see some rotation there in this starting 11, so I will put on my starting 11 in a minute. Did very well again predicting the starting 11 against Sheffield United. I'm on a roll so far this season, so hopefully that continues. But I want to see us defend very well, and to break quickly. Tempo was a massive thing we were missing against Sheffield United. Got to be quicker on the turnover against Man United, especially with their defence, how good they are in defence. If Wan-Bissaka's going forward as well, we've got to exploit that gap, because we know if he gets back, he will be putting in a challenge and he will be getting the ball. Zaha against Wan-Bissaka will be really, really interesting to watch as well. I do think that, we need to be clinical as well. And passing, another thing, passing accuracy was all over the shop against Sheffield United. Very, very poor. Seemed to be turning over possession. Both teams turned over possession quite a lot, but obviously Sheffield United far more clinical and looked a lot better with their possession than we did. And our passing accuracy in the final third was just non-existent, to be honest. It was very, very poor. So passing, got to be better. And obviously the main word is just being compact, and defensively sound, but also the main word clinical when we do get chances. So with that being said, let's move on to my predicted 11 for the game. A couple of changes. Let me run it through you right now. So as you guys can see, I am changing up the formation. I think we got to add an extra midfielder in there for the reasons I said at the start of the video. I think the best way, if any way, you're going to get into this Man United side and get anything out of the game, you have to match up man for man with their midfield, but also try your best to dominate the tempo in the midfield and to dominate the ball in the midfield. Very hard, as I said, against their midfielders. McTominay is a really nitty-gritty kind of player, very hard to play against because he's defensively quite sound and just, likes to get right up in players' faces and make things difficult. Pogba, the technical ability on the ball, of course, is difficult. But for me, matching up 3 versus 3 in that midfield and trying our best to, when we have the ball, dictate tempo in that area, it's going to be absolutely crucial for us getting anything out of this game. So for me, I've gone back to the 4-3-3. That has worked. I think we play a lot better than 4-3-3 anyway. As you can see, defence, pretty similar, but one massive change in there. So Guaita in goal, Ward, of course, at right back, Van Aanholt left back. Van Aanholt was very poor, and again, I do think we need a backup left back, of course, to pressure him and to try and get him the best out of him, because he's very comfortable in that position right now. But Van Aanholt, Ward, and in the centre-back roles, I've gone with Kelly and Cahill to make his debut for Crystal Palace. I think this is the time to bring him in. He looks fit, he looks ready. He's had an interview midweek, and I think it's all geared up to him having his debut for Palace, and I think you need that experience, that knowledge against the top 4 side like United. You need someone of Cahill's experience in that defence just to make sure things up. He knows how to get wins against these sort of sides. He knows how to set up a defence and to lead against a side like this. So he's going to be crucial, I think, if we get anything, and I'd love to see him in the starting lineup. Then we go into the midfield. I'll have 2 players sitting. Luka Milivojevic, and I'd like to see Kouyaté in there. I don't know if he's fully fit or if he's fully ready. Not a lot's been mentioned about Kouyaté since the start of the season, really. He is back and he's obviously in training, and I think he's up to speed, but I'd like him in instead of MacArthur. Him or McCarthy, I couldn't really decide. I lean towards Kouyaté just because he played very well away at United in that 0-0 last season. In the middle, I want to see Max Meyer just ahead. Obviously, I think he's much better down the middle than leaving him out wide. I do feel that Roy is the sort of guy who wants to play him out wide though, so I could see Camarasa making his debut in that spot there and Meyer drop to the bench. But I'd love to see Meyer down the middle, just see what he can do down the middle, give him more opportunities there because that is his favoured position. Then we go left and right wing, obviously self-explanatory, Wilf and Townsend. And then up front, I'm going with Jordan Ayew. I don't think Benteke did anywhere near enough. That being said, Ayew on his own is a bit of a concern for me. I'd like to see Wilf and Andros like almost inside forwards, almost like a front 3, a narrow front 3. But obviously, they go out wide on the counter and when receiving the ball go out wide. But when it goes in and around Ayew, I'd love to see them come in and just support him because on his own, I don't think he's good enough. I think he works better with a striker around him, Ayew. As we saw against Everton, I thought it was very harsh for him to be dropped, but I can understand it with Wilf being back in the side. So that's my lineup. Obviously, comment your thoughts down below. Do you agree with it? Up front, obviously, it's quite hard to decide when everyone's out of form. And the big one for me is that midfield 3. Who starts? Obviously, Milivojevic is a dead cert, but the other 2 is up for debate. I personally went for Kouyaté and Meyer, but I could definitely see it being 2 new signings, McCarthy, Camarasa. But equally, that could be too much change for a game like this. But then again, as I said, it's Man United. We're not really expecting a result. It's about performance, and this could be a great game for them to make a statement and to get a starting spot in the lineup for the foreseeable future. So, you know, there's 2 sides to everything here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we perform. I'm hoping to see us have a response, some sort of energy, just show some passion, and if we can perform well, say we lose 2 or 3-0, I'm expecting us to lose 2 or 3-0, but I'd like to see us lose and not be absolutely ripped apart. I'd like to see us, when we go a goal behind, to still stay solid and strong and to look to attack at the right times. Just show the tactical prowess, if you like, and the confidence, and to show the fans that, you know, the mentality is right in the squad, that we can go into the rest of the season with a bit more confidence. So that's my thoughts, guys. So my score prediction is going to be 3-1. I also would love to see us get our first goal of the season. We do not want that to go on for too much longer, not scoring. Get that first goal on the board at least. That's probably the only thing I'm really hoping we can get at Man United. It's going to be very hard, of course, but I'd love to see us come out there, even if we lose, with a goal on the board. That'd be good for going into the next game and momentum, of course. So let me know your thoughts down below, guys. That is my starting 11 there. And obviously comment below your thoughts on the scoreline. Love to know your thoughts. Obviously, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time.